401. So
Okay.
401, we're going to call to order the Tree Advisory Committee meeting for February. Welcome,
Yay.
everyone. Yes, great to see everyone.
Yeah.
All right. So approval of minutes. Are there any recommended changes? I know one of the things is a timetable for some of the work we're doing with the ordinance, and I will fill some of those blanks in later.
Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting, which was October 13th, 2022?
I move approval.
Do you have a second? Anne or Brenda, you want to second it? Or I can. I'll second it. I'll approve. Say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right.
Okay. So the minutes from our October meeting has been approved. All right. Any public appearances? Don't think so.
I don't see anyone on the Zoom and I don't see anyone in the room, so I think we're good.
And Sue, thank you for being here too.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Always great to see you, Sue.
And as we know, Sue is chair of the Parks Commission. So it's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So you all have the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda recommended? Hi, Terrell.
Hello.
Okay, if not, can I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
I move approval.
Okay.
I second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so agenda is approved for tonight. All right, the first item is the tree preservation ordinance, or update on that. So just maybe I can just start with reviewing the timeline and where we are, and the timeline was in the minutes from last time, and I can just update that. I wonder if I could share it. I don't know if it's important enough to share, but we met with the Parks Commission on December 1st, and we met with the Plan Commission on January 17th. We got very good suggestions, feedback. We've made a little bit of change, but it was very, very helpful. And Scott introduced us, and we've spent time with him as well. So that whole process is going very well. We met with the city administrator on November 16th, got good feedback from him, and then met again with the city attorney very recently.
When was that meeting, Linda?
You know, I just put down it was, I put down it was February 23rd, but it's obviously not February 23rd. It was
January.
Mm-hmm.
January 23rd, right?
Yes, it was January 23rd. Yep. And Valerie has been communicating with staff, including our city administrator, and Mr. Brecklin is going to be following up and getting some feedback from developers on the ordinance as we have it drafted now. So I think, all that is extremely beneficial. We also now have two other scheduled meetings, the Resource Conservation Council, and we meet with them next week. And then we meet with Committee of the Whole on February 22nd. And we are ready to proceed. I think what we wanted to do is let you look at the draft as we have it now. Anna, do you want to put it on your screen, or do you want me to see if I can do that? I think
I'm on my phone. I can try to make that work. I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah,
phone or-
okay. Well, let me just see if I can figure out how to do that.
I did email it to everyone the last,
All right. Well, did everybody get to look at it? Do you have any questions? So the red lines, the red print on the ordinance is the new draft, the draft that we're proposing be added.
I can go over
So
the.
the text that's in red is all new?
Okay.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. So it's basically, we changed where we put it into section, oh, let me pull it up here if I can. We changed where we inserted it, and we changed the wording a little bit under advisement from Valerie and Plan Commission.
So it's not new language, it's just moved.
We added tree species instead of having it refer to our list that we have online. Valerie said it would be better to have the species that we're looking for in the actual wording of the ordinance. So we added that. So you'll see a list of tree species. That's the only real change.
Right.
And then
go ahead.
And then we put it, instead of putting it, we had it as number 9 and 10. We moved it to 17 and 18, I think, because otherwise, if we change the order of those things developers are required to do, everywhere else in the city code and city policies where that ordinance is referenced will need to be changed. So inserting it at the end makes more sense just from an ease of operation standpoint. So that's why we moved it to the end.
So I'm not seeing the trees listed. What number paragraph is it?
So it's in the section 54 ordinance, and where we have definitions. So it'd be the definitions of desirable tree. It would.
So that's not in what you emailed to us.
Let me pull it up here.
You just have the preservation ordinance.
So there's a piece of the ordinance in both section 54 and 24. Did you get both?
24 is what was sent to us.
Okay.
You should have got both.
Both
in the packet. It's in the package because I print everything.
Yeah.
There. So.
And it is in the packet too, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at
I can
54 is where we changed so 24 is where we changed what's required to be presented to Plan Commission. And that's where instead of having it as 9 and 10, we moved it to basically 17 and 18. And then in 54, which is the 54, which is the definitions, that's where the list of trees is.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Do you see it?
I have a question. In the section 24-4, item 18.
Yep.
It said that tree preservation plan for review by the City of Fitchburg Plan Commission with written input from the city forest. Why had to go to Plan Commission this?
That's a good question. That's what was, and maybe it doesn't need to. That's what was recommended by Sonia when we met with her. Oh man, a year and a half, probably 2 years ago now. So that's a good question, Julia. And maybe that's just something that gets submitted to the city forester and doesn't need to go to the Plan Commission.
Yeah, I want to understand the logic because why it had to go to, because for review by the City of Fitchburg Plan Commission, why it had to be reviewed only by them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I mean?
they're the ones who are reviewing the preliminary plat, right? I mean, that's why.
Mhm. Yeah,
So-
I think that probably the logic there.
So the recommendation comes from the city forester and goes directly to the plan commission, and they make the final decision, I believe.
No, it should also come to our committee too, if we are
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Come to where?
To
The
tree
tree
advisory.
committee. Yeah,
I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
If, because it certainly makes sense that it goes to tree advisory and plan commission. If it goes to tree advisory committee, does it therefore have to go to Parks Commission because tree advisory committee reports to Parks Commission? I'm not arguing that it must, but as a legal matter, does it have to go through both if it goes through tree advisory committee?
I think it does, Sue. So I wonder if we need to talk to Valerie about that.
So,
Okay.
well, I mean, does it need to be approved by the committee? I mean, I'm just thinking that, well, how does it work when Scott makes decision, works with the developer about like how parkland credits are being used? Is that something that is approved by the Parks Commission?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So
And
then
the
it has to be-
council.
I mean, some of it is a formula,
Right.
period, but
In terms
especially.
of amount of money, correct?
Yeah, right, and especially in this instance where now it's, I guess, newer territory, and it's hard to know what kind of credits will be offered, especially in the early years. Maybe that's the reason to have it be reviewed. I'm not advocating one thing or another. It's whatever makes the most sense for the goal of this ordinance.
Right, I agree, and I'm very sensitive to feedback we've gotten that we don't want to slow the process down for developers. I mean, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. I just want to be mindful of that.
Yeah. Well, and Parks Commission meets monthly, so there's, it's not really slowing anything down to, necessarily.
Well, I wonder if we should just run that by Valerie and see, or by Deanna and see what the recommendation is, if we need to refine that a little bit or not.
But I
So-
have a question. This is the plan. This is the original plan, isn't it? Or what else involved,
Yeah, so I think what we're requiring is that they get that the trees be on the preliminary platting documents, and then any
Oh.
trees that they're going to preserve, they have to have a preservation plan.
Right.
And and does it make sense for that tree preservation plan to go to Plan Commission, or should it go to, let's say, the Tree Advisory or Parks Commission, or both? I think the thought process there was just to make things easier for the developer, just to have them present to Plan Commission and have Plan Commission refer things out as needed. But
Mhm.
but I can't remember exactly why Sonia had suggested we do it this way.
Mhm.
My concern that they go to Plan Commission, because sometimes the commission in that committee look for other things that maybe we look, or or they, what I mean,
Right.
or they are not familiar with. Oh, by
Right.
the way, what I mean. So
Yep.
this is
That's
my
what-
only,
But they're
concern.
the ones who, of course, I mean, they approve the preliminary plat, so.
No, that's a good point. We'll look into
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Leo.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? We started out initially, the desirable trees we defined as the trees that are recommended in general for planting in the city of Fitchburg, which is on our website. And when we went to, I think it was Plan Commission, they talked about how, I mean, that was very broad-based, and something more not restricted necessarily to native trees or indigenous trees, but something really more specific to the trees that we are prioritizing. should be included directly in the ordinance. And then when we met with Valerie recently, she said, yes, absolutely. She said the ordinance is more effective and workable by putting these specific species in the ordinance. And if we need to make changes in the future, that's fine. We can do that. That's not that difficult. But for now, we should include in the ordinance the species of trees and the size that we want preserved when at all possible.
And so what I did was I mostly included the tree species that are long-lived and tend to be features of the environment. So you can see it's all the oaks, hickory, white pine, sugar maple, honey locust, basswood, hackberry. So it's a fairly straightforward list that I don't think will draw much consternation from folks. I mean, it's pretty much what the native trees we have here that you'd want to keep in the environment if you had the choice.
Is honey locust? I thought that was not native.
No, it's native.
Oh, okay.
The black locust might be what you're thinking of, where it's not a desirable one for this region.
Nope.
Native south.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the draft as it reads now? Or the process as we're moving forward?
So I have a question. Once this is presented to the committee of the whole at the end of February, what is the next step?
Good question. Park Commission then can refer it out, I think. Scott just wants us to get committee of the whole's eyes on it. And then once they ask their questions, we get that resolved. We can have Park Commission refer it out. And it would be great if we could have that in March.
Mm-hmm.
If that's possible, unless they have some big thing we need to take care of. But that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a suggestion.
Awesome.
That the committee of the whole, the video of the meeting, to when that's available, get a link or find on the video where this presentation starts and send an email to the plan commissioners with that link.
Oh, sure.
Because they didn't get the entire expert presentation that committee of the whole will. And many of them, they were quite supportive, so they might like to see the full presentation that committee of the whole got.
Okay.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you. Yeah, they were very supportive and they had really good questions. And then we were there, someone was asking for approval on a driveway that connected with the street, with the road. And as we noted afterwards, the trees weren't on it. It's a wooded lot, wooded area, and the trees weren't on it. So she verbally described it, but the trees weren't on it. So yeah, I think this is going to be really beneficial for them too as they make decisions. So, all right, so I think the next thing, do we want to make a motion right now that we're ready to ask for a resolution to be sent to the Parks Committee, which is what we need in order to get it to the council? I think we do. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I think, you can make a motion that says, hey, we'd like to refer this to Parks Commission, with any additional changes that have been discussed that have, in this committee or, that we discussed already in this meeting, and also that may come up in committee of the whole, or RCC, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And I think regardless of changes that may come up. I don't anticipate a lot of change to the basic meaning of this ordinance, which is to get the trees on the preliminary plats for when commissions are approving it through the city, and to make that a city ordinance because developers use the city ordinance to devise their plans, and so they need to know about it up front. And so anyway, so that piece, I don't anticipate any changes in that, and I don't anticipate any major changes in the desirable trees the way we've listed them in the ordinance. So I'd like to make a motion that we recommend a resolution going to the Park Commission that will trigger these ordinance changes going to council.
I move.
Okay. All approving, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Was there a second there? Sorry to interrupt.
Julia made the second.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
You were
Yeah,
so
I say I
excited.
move
That's
into the
why,
second.
Anna. Yeah, no.
Yeah. This is exactly it. Yes, I am too excited.
Yeah, we've worked on it for 2 years and tried, and staff and committees have been wonderful. It took us a while to figure, Craig and I to figure it all out, but
I want to add another comment. When this ordinance is approved, I think it will be great that when developers approach, the plan department, I think they have a checklist with all the things that they need to have in place. Maybe we need to add in the checklist that the tree ordinance, they should look at that. It's not a surprise. Oh, by the way, should be included in that checklist.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and I think we will hopefully get on the agenda for Parks Commission in March.
And I think that's a March 2nd meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I think
So if you want that to be in the Park Commission, maybe you need to refer out. When is our next council meeting? Next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to put this in the referral agenda, Anna.
Yes. Okay.
To
I
be
can do
referred
that.
out to Park for March. Okay.
I can do that.
when is the March meeting for the Park Board?
March 2nd.
Okay, right. I already have it on my calendar. Yep.
The agenda for next week for council is already done. Is
Right.
today at 12 o'clock. So maybe you need to put it in the. Oh, what
For
is the next one?
The following will be the
The
the date.
28th.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So that's
that one. Okay.
then we'll have gone to committee of the whole. So that's probably the best one to do.
Yeah. Okay.
What date is that?
The 28th.
Okay, of March.
And if we get it on the referral agenda, the council doesn't really take it up. They just then refer it out to committees. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Awesome. Yes, we can do that.
all right.
All right. Things are moving. This is awesome. And thank you all for all your work on this. It's really, we've gotten a lot of momentum in the last couple of months, and it's been really great.
All right, the next agenda item is our meeting schedule for this coming year. And I think you've gotten a couple of notices on that.
Yeah, so I sent it out to everyone just because, this year we did add a couple of meetings thanks to Julia's amendment to the budget, which is great, including this meeting, which is actually really productive. So I just want to make sure everyone was clear, and I got all of the meeting dates out for folks so there was no real confusion And I followed the schedule that we had suggested. Our last meeting, we didn't know if we'd get those extra 2 meetings or not, but it was suggested that we meet in February and July. So that's what I did, is I added meetings both in February and July, since we did get those 2 extra meetings. So I sent the schedule to everyone just so there was no confusion about that. And then I also just added that to that schedule that we will have the Arbor Day proclamation to the council on the Tuesday, April 25th meeting at 7:30, just so folks know if you want to. We should have at least one person there, but if more people want to come, you'd be more than welcome. And I just wanted to put down the dates that, Earth Day is April 22nd. Arbor Day this year is April 28th. And we're getting our Arbor Day planting events set up. And I can talk about that with the next agenda item, but I just wanted to get that out so folks had it, because I know calendars really fill up quickly. And just that out of courtesy, I didn't want anyone to be surprised or feel like they were left out of the process, and just wanted to make sure we've got really good communication on all the dates we've got on the calendar so far.
Okay. I will be here on the 25th, so I can come to that, April 25th, at the council meeting. I can be at that. Unfortunately, I'm going to be gone for the plantings, though.
Oh, that's all right.
So,
Can I make a recommendation?
Yes,
It would be great if we write an article for a start, inviting the people or letting know the people, the resident, about all this activity in April. And especially, families want to come to, for the tree planting.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So maybe inform more in the Fitchburg Star with an article, or with I don't know. Or in the section where the city buys, you know what I mean? Well, I don't know. We are not doing that now, but
so I can do that. Because we used to put it in the Fitchburg Star because the city, bought that page.
right.
Now that we're not at, I think they'll still put something in there. I'll ask them. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Because in the past, you're right, we've always done that. We've thrown these things in at the Fitchburg Star, and that's a great way to let folks know what's going on. And we'll do that even though we're not buying that page anymore. So I'll contact them and see what the best way to approach it is.
I think the best way, if someone writes something like a letter to the editor or an article. And the other thing, Anna, if we can have like some outreach in social media, especially in Facebook, in the City of Fitchburg Facebook, like all these activities, so we can, share that and.
Absolutely. So I will, when I get more details, I'll write those up and we'll get on the social media, and we will get those out in the Fitchburg Star. We, we'll provide the Fitchburg Star with that information. I don't know if they're mad at us. I don't think they are, but I have no idea. So I'll do what I can to get it in the Fitchburg Star as well. But yes, absolutely. We should, you're 100% right. We need to get those things published out there for the public. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also like to suggest Nextdoor. I find out about a lot of events on that. So maybe sometimes I've seen you posting. That's a good idea.
So what I'll do when I get things written up is I'll email it to everyone on this committee, and then I don't have access to Nextdoor since I don't live in Fitchburg. But if you can throw it on your, I guess
neighborhood,
your neighborhood, whatever. I don't know what I don't know how Nextdoor works, but if you throw it on your Nextdoor or your neighborhood Facebook or whatever as well, that might be really beneficial. Yeah, and I don't know, neighborhood associations are, if you want to email it to them, that's fine. I have not gotten much traction in just blindly email neighborhoods. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just like you email it to the person and they may or may not email it to their list, or that they may not be the right person, or it may not be, it's, but that's another avenue. If you have a neighborhood association that's active that you can throw out there, that's great.
Well, I like the idea that you email a poster to us, or something to us.
Yeah.
And we can use our own connections to do that.
Right. Yeah. Because that's the best way.
Yeah.
But
I know many years ago, it used to be beneficial to put it up in the grocery store and things like that, but I'm not sure people use any of that anymore, paper.
I don't
postage,
think so.
bulletin boards, I know. Yeah. I wonder if it always feels like it's educational. I wonder if the library would put it on their website, their notices as well. And because I know they used to join us in some of the activities. They might promote it too.
They might. I can ask them. They've kind of got their own thing going, but
Yeah.
Anna, Scott Endel has been posting some of the parks things on Nextdoor. I think he, in the rec department, CC Stady, she got an account set up. So it might be able to be something that can be posted directly that way.
That's
okay.
a great idea. That's a great idea.
Is there just one Nextdoor for the whole city of Fitchburg, or is it divided up by neighborhoods, or?
It's a nationwide company, and yeah, so there is a Nextdoor Fitchburg.
I see.
And you can, as the individual user, select how far out within the boundary of Fitchburg your message goes. You can tailor it to just 3 neighborhoods or the border of the entire community.
I see. Okay, fair enough. Interesting. All right. Well, yeah. Well, Nextdoor is that's a good avenue. I'll ask DC. I'll check in with her to see kind of what her capabilities are. But it's, if everyone else posts it too, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Or yeah, if it's posted more than once, I'm happy to post it once I see it.
Yeah.
Too.
And I think too, if you see something posted by someone it gets a little bit more traction. Whereas if you see something posted by someone you don't know, you may or may not pay attention to it. Or maybe I'm wrong on that, but it seems like if there's, if you're expecting something or the person, it seems to get more attention. But anyway, so I just wanted to make sure we had those dates out there so folks knew what was upcoming.
Good. Thank you. All
Yeah,
right.
Should I elaborate more on the tree planting events, or we're not quite to that agenda item, I guess. So I'll just hold my peace for a moment.
Well, I'm gonna. It'll
I guess
come up fast, but go ahead. Yeah. Okay. I didn't mean to cut you off on it. No.
No problem. I'm so excited about TPO. I'm just a little flustered. But so just to let everyone know, some of you know this, some of you don't. So I've been working with the Madison Tree Canopy Project the last couple of months here to get some different tree planting events organized in the city of Fitchburg. Those are going to be our Arbor Day events. And basically the Madison Tree Canopy Project, what they're trying to do, it's a Dane County initiative, I believe. They're trying to get more trees planted in vulnerable neighborhoods. And so we are going to be planting more trees in our healthy neighborhoods. Hopefully if things go well. And I asked them for, I think 70 something trees. And I'd like to put some on Post Road, close to where the hub is going to be, not right where the hub is going to be, because that'll be under construction. But there aren't any trees in the terrace on Post Road. So by the Fairways Apartments and on the other side of the road as well. And all of the ash trees in that area have died and have been removed. So there's definitely a need for more trees there. I'm really hoping. I asked for some smaller stature trees and some bare root trees that could be easily planted in those terraces, because those terraces are only 4 feet wide. So they're too small for bald and burlap trees. So I'm hoping to make an Arbor Day activity out of planting some bare root trees in those terraces, planting them and staking them. I had a conversation today with DNR. They are interested in helping as their Arbor Day activity. So hopefully we can get people from the DNR service station that's here in Fitchburg to help us to volunteer for that. And I have some interest from some other tree planting groups as well. So that's one event. Another event that will take place on a Saturday is planting trees in Southdale. Town of Madison has not been planting trees by the looks of it for a while. There are a lot of ash trees that we are taking down, unfortunately. And I don't really want the people of Southdale just to think of City of Fitchburg of the people who came in and took down all our trees, because primarily their canopy tree there is ash and they're all dead or dying. So we've been taking them all down, which is really not awesome, but that's kind of the stage that we're at. So I'm hoping to get the balance of those trees from the Madison Canopy Project planted in Southdale. And there are volunteers in theory that we're going to get either, from the community, also from, I believe the Sierra Club has a tree planting volunteer group that's going to help us with that. And I've got a couple of dates on the calendar just so we can be flexible and accommodate different schedules. So that's kind of the gist of it. We'll do more than that. We'll probably buy trees as well from Wintergreen like we typically do. They give us a really good deal, but those are kind of the main thrust of the projects that are getting fleshed out right now for Arbor Day / Earth Day. It's going to be mostly planting trees in our healthy neighborhoods via the Madison Tree Canopy Project, which I think is awesome. It's a win all around, and also just try to plant more trees in Southdale to replace some of our ash trees, the ash trees that we've taken down, and also just to spruce things up over there. There's just some.
Where is Southdale?
It's the town of Madison edition. So the town of Madison that just got added to City of Fitchburg in October.
It's along the belt line near the car dealerships off of
Rimrock.
Off of what?
Rimrock.
Rimrock,
that corner. Yeah.
Rimrock. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was trying to think of. Yeah. So over on that, it's Southdale when it was town of Madison, and they kept the name of the neighborhood even though it's in the north part of Fitchburg.
Yes. So it's, yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of a long-winded way of saying we'll be planting trees this spring. Probably more than just that, but anyway. And more information to come.
That sounds wonderful. Oh, I love the collaborations. That's pretty amazing. That's great.
Yeah. No,
Thanks
it's good.
so much.
Good. I'm really grateful folks are willing to work with us, and really I was really grateful that Madison Tree Canopy Project thought of us and called me last August, and I was just like, yeah, we can work with you. What do you got? And it just takes a while because they have to work through a process, and it's the tree board is involved and blah blah blah. But I think it's going to work out great, and I'm really excited for it. And so it's a good it'll be a good project for sure.
Anna, those trees, the 77 trees that you're getting are free, or the city has to pay for those?
Nope, they're free.
Huh.
They're free. And the nice thing is, I hope if it's what I think it's going to be, they're going to be bare root trees, and they're smaller stature. So they will be good trees to put in where we don't have a lot of space, which is Post Road. And that is Southdale, because there's power lines there. The terraces aren't very big. There's not a lot of public space for trees, but these will hopefully be able to accommodate that. So I'm really hoping it all works out. I think it will, but so fingers crossed that it all works out. But I made the reservation for the trees last fall, and said we would plant them in April. I could take receipt of them in March. So I'm going to be, and I've talked to them, and everything I think is set. So hopefully it'll all work out. But yes, they are free through the Madison Tree Canopy Project, which is great.
What species will they be?
So it's a variety. It's common hackberry, it's honey locust, a couple of different shrub species. There's a few red buds in there. There are a couple of oak trees that are going to be a little tight, but we'll figure that out. Some apple trees. I'm kind of excited. I know there are fruit trees in Southdale already, but I think there's 10 apple trees that we're getting. So, which is kind of a nice thing to put. I don't know if we're going to put those in the terrace, but that's kind of a nice addition to some of our parks. I know we have a lot of apple trees that don't quite get utilized the way we'd like, but it is a nice thing, for the spring flowers and for apples if people want apples, and things of that nature. So it's a nice variety. And hopefully it'll all shake out.
It's very exciting.
It is. I agree.
We'll all hope for good weather in April.
Yeah. Well, right. We only can go up from here.
Yeah.
From a weather.
Right. I know. Yeah. Crazy.
So that's Arbor Day planting events.
Okay. Any other questions or additions on this topic? All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes. I'm excited, obviously.
Good reason.
Yeah.
All right, report from department.
Well, we still have to talk about the resolution, 22-23. That's on the agenda before we go to, did that not make it onto the agenda?
Not the one,
Not on the agenda.
right?
No.
Okay, so the agenda that's online, I think, so this is
So I
something,
was hoping you could wrap it into the report from the department.
sure, yeah, I can do that. So the resolution R22-23, that is the ARPA TID funding. I emailed you kind of late the information. I didn't realize that got referred to this committee, but it did. That's basically the city's plan for spending the TID closure money and the money that came from the COVID Recovery Act. And you can see in there the ones that pertain to Parks Commission / Tree Advisory are money for median native plantings and money for native plantings in parks, like basically a prairie in a park. We did put in for other things, but nothing else we put in tree related. I believe just it didn't get funded this round. So I don't know that there's a whole lot to discuss there. I think it's more of a advisory kind of situation. I don't know, Sue, did you guys talk about this a lot in Park Commission? I don't know if I'm missing the main points or not.
I might be mistaken. Did I just hear you say the only things that you mentioned were that native plantings in parks and pilot vegetation and street medians?
I believe so, unless I've got that.
Well, and Julia will know a little bit too, but 3-12 is tree replacement related to emerald ash borer, and 313 is updated complete tree inventory. Are those in?
In for
Yeah,
this.
I think there is something else for tree, but I need to look at, I don't have with me now the,
Yeah.
let me
When
look for
you-
the guide, yeah.
The in our agenda packet for today,
Okay.
I got myself twisted here by I got two different ways of looking at this here, and I thought I had it pulled up for tree advisory packet. The document that has the whole, describes the whole ARPA TID closure is,
It's a big document.
There's a link in our packet. There's a link. The link
Right.
takes you to the document on the city page. It's the ARPA TID investment plan. It's like the second section down. And if you go there, the plan nothing's been changed in that plan. That's upcoming to decide what's in and what's out, if I understood from Parks Commission. And so there on the items 3-12 is additional tree replacement for emerald ash borer.
Okay. Yep.
That says 135,000.
Yep. I put that together. That's in there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
right underneath it is update or complete the inventory of trees, 25,000. And then
Awesome.
Julia
Yep.
pointed out to us at Parks Commission, there isn't enough money to fund everything on these lists.
Right.
So that just because it's on the list doesn't mean it's happening. Do I
Oh.
there?
Yes.
Yeah, it's correct. We are short $1 million. So we are, some of the stuff is gonna be funded via CIP if we are not be able to fund it with ARPA or the TID closure money. But, the total amount here is $10 million and we have almost $9 million. So we are short $1 million. So, it doesn't mean that all the projects that they are here in the list are going to be able to be done. Some of them they're already started, so that one they're going to continue. But the one that the one that have not started yet, that one doesn't mean that,
Yeah.
But we need to keep talking about this and pushing, and you know what I mean, and this is how we make this happen. This thing happen, you know what I mean. So
And the
Right.
final,
I just keep thinking about the budget that was dramatically cut for tree purchases. And the Emerald Ash Borer crisis, which was never fully funded. So I don't know, I'm just thinking that that's a really huge, priority.
and
Yeah.
also, yeah,
It'd be-
with alders we have until March 1st to submit amendments. So maybe there are more projects coming to the list.
Okay, fair enough.
So, but this is a very good list. You know, I think that for us, the council members is like okay, all this is a great project, one-time project that, you know, that we should be looking, you know, through grants and other funding. If we cannot fund it with, you know, in our budget or with this ARPA fund or with the teeth closure fund. But I think this is a nice list of projects that, you know, the council and staff work together and say, we would like to have those projects, you know, this project.
But do you know, I mean, do you have an idea of how the council will make that decision? Will they try to kind of make it even so every department gets something of what they asked? I mean,
so most of the project, you know, this is the second time that we are reviewing this and putting amendment. The first time was during the summertime, and the mayor proposed a lot of projects that are in consultation with the staff. And then he brings that to the council, and the council, I brought a couple of projects to this. So we put some projects, and then the idea is to determine how is the priority. That one is, I think, a staff member, you know, staff is working with the mayor and the city administrator. They're going through the list and determine which one their priority, you know. But, you know, the council already, you know, reviewed that in the summer. We brought new ideas. Some of the projects already started. We are closing another tax incremental district right now. This is why we are reviewing this again, because we have another $4 million additional coming to this to fund this project. But some of these projects, the issue is that I'm going to give you an example. We need to redo all the tennis court in the McKee Farm Park. We budgeted $165,000, and it's going to cost almost $700,000 to do the project. So, you know, so construction costs are going up, and, you know, and sometimes we estimate an amount for a project, and then when we go to bid and we get the, you know, the real, you know, fee for the project is totally different. It's double or triple, you know, like the tennis court.
so yeah. Are you saying that probably the projects that have already been started will have priority for getting money in order to finish what's already been started?
Yeah.
So this is a need that's been going on, but the trees haven't been ordered yet, so it will be lower priority. Is that what you're saying will probably happen?
I assume Anna is going to talk to the city administrator and Scott to determine, maybe it's a priority to replace all these trees, you know what I mean? Because we are replacing trees, so
Right.
it's a priority.
Right.
And one positive thing is, like, in the past, I never really had access to the city administrator, but our current city administrator has started having meetings with departments, which I don't know if it happened before or didn't or what, but I was never really involved at that level. And so, like, next week we're meeting with the city administrator, which is really kind of nice as a department, and I can bring these things up. I never had that opportunity in the past. So yeah, so I'll bring it up and kind of see what happens and kind of go from there. I don't, yeah, I mean, I obviously can't make any promises, but I think it's good. It's good to at least, like, as Julia said, it's good to at least have it out there, get eyes on it. If it doesn't get funded this time, you know, the next time that there's an opportunity, you know, it's familiar to folks, and it's not a new, it doesn't come out of the blue, so to speak, if that makes.
Yep.
I have a question, two questions. The first one is about the tree replacement figure that's shown here, the definition of what should go on this list is if I got that straight, is more like one-time projects. But let's say, for example, here we say we want $135,000. Is it a possibility that they'll say, well, here's $40,000, you know, that, or 10,000, some amount far smaller? Then are you ever able to list that again? Because if it's a one-time project, how would you add the same line item back in the next closure? Then my other question is different. It's about the tree inventory process. And then whether, Anna could tell us more what that's all about.
Okay, yeah. So to start with, Sue, I don't know, like if it's a one-time money, if we don't get something fully funded, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a legal expert, obviously. I don't know why that would preclude it from getting listed again. Because if we could say like, hey, you know, one-time money to replace ash trees, we got a third of them replaced. It'd be nice to get the other 2/3 replaced. I don't know, you know,
No, you can add it to the capital improvement plans. You know, you can add that too. You know, you can bring an amendment to the capital improvement plan that is coming soon in the summer and say, okay, it's because the trees are capital.
Yeah. There's just
there are other ways where you can add this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that other question, just so I understand more, Anna, what is the story about tree inventory?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So one of the things that is just really, we've gotten really behind on. So just to back up, in 2013, the city paid for a tree inventory, but really the only trees that got inventoried to any real satisfaction were the ash trees, which kind of made sense. That was the priority. So we knew where they were. We could, you know, start to manage them pretty intensely. Never really had a tree inventory of the entire city. And so we don't really have we have a sense of what's out there, but we don't always have hard and fast numbers of, you know, different species, of different, you know, different caliper size and all of that sort of thing. And if we're really going to be managing this resource in a really effective way, we really need those numbers at our fingertips. And so if we could have, it would be a one-time cost to either pay a contractor or, better yet, in my opinion, an employee or two to run around with handheld GPSs or whatever the technology happens to be, you know, get a geolocation for every tree and a species and a size and a age, you know, an age class and this sort of thing. If we could get that done, you know, it wouldn't really take that long. If we could get that done once, we could maintain it so much more easily. It's really hard to, right now, it's really hard to maintain our tree inventory because never started it was never finished to start with. And it's got a couple of different data sources and it's not, it's a little bit clunky, I guess I would say. So if we could just get that cleaned up, get all of, you know, the trees, you know, geolocated, and technology now in 2023 is much better than it was in 2013. So we'd get a much more accurate location for the trees, which would be helpful. And the thing is, it wouldn't just be helpful to me, it would be helpful across the board. So like when Public Works is doing a project, they could just pull up the tree layer from the GIS and there it is, and it's accurate. They could see what it is. And there wouldn't be as many questions. And there wouldn't be some, like right now we're trying to do sidewalk replacement stuff and you have to physically go out and make sure the tree that's there is actually really the tree that's in the inventory, or you just you ignore the inventory and just go out and look at the tree just to make sure we all know what we're talking about and we're all on the same page. So I think it would be a really useful tool across the board just for management of green infrastructure in the city. And so that's why I put tree inventory in there. And then if we had, you know, a way to share that information, it would be really great. And I would love to have it public so the public can look at it and know if they have a question about what trees in a park or what trees on a street or whatever, they can just get on the website and take a look and they would know. And that's not really that hard to do. It's just a matter of making it happen. And we just need either a consultant or a staff person. I think a staff person would be better, but an LTE person, but whatever, to do the legwork, get the information entered, and then make it available to folks. And I think it would be a win all around. And that's the long story longer on the tree inventory.
Well, and that last little bit you mentioned reminds me of some photos I sent you on a trip to the Boston area a couple years ago.
Yes,
where
yes.
The Parks Department had identified some remarkable trees, whether they were in the green space or within a park, you name it. And they actually had created sort of like a self-guided tree tour map that citizens could either whether it was a pamphlet or carrying it or looking online. And then at some of the remarkable trees, they even had like a little information placket of how old, the species of the tree. And in there, of course, it's easier to do historically, but they even in some of them said that, okay, this tree is 185 years old and what was going on when this tree in history, when this tree was small. So it was very educational, extra little piece that it sounds like a good tree inventory could be the underpinnings of a little project like that.
That would be awesome, Sue. I mean, that sounds amazing. And that would be something that would be awesome to do. And again, like I said, you're 100% right on. If we had that tree inventory, it would help facilitate things like that. And, and those are the kinds of things that's low hanging fruit. There's no reason we can't do that. That sounds amazing. I think people would really like it. I think it would be something, that people would enjoy and would be kind of something remarkable. People would, come away with some good knowledge. It's just a matter of making it happen. And I mean, I love it. It's that's absolutely something we can do. And and the thing is too, like now I think I'm not 100% sure what is going on with the city website, but I thought it was getting upgraded to a more powerful situation that we could do more with it. And I think those kinds of things would be possible to help facilitate through the website. I know we have had staff before do different bike tours and things, kind of exactly what you're talking about. And that would be, it would be great. It would be great to have it on the website and as well as available at parks so people could, learn more about trees. I love it. I think that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
All right. So I
And
guess
thank you, Julia, for everything you do to promote all of this, as well as everything else in the city. So thank you.
yeah. Well, and do we need to vote on this then? This this resolution? Do we? Oh man, yeah, we do, right? It's resolution R2223. Is it just an up or down vote, or I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do with this.
Yeah, it's a resolution that it has to be, it's running through all the commissions and committees, and it has to be, it has to be approved.
Okay.
So the approval is just whether we support these recommendations or these requests, or did you want any other feedback?
No, it's practically is that we are adopting this 2023 update to the ARPA closure investment plan. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. And I'm glad to hear that the tree stuff still was in there. I guess I'm getting confused with something else that got taken out, and it was just the median stuff that was in. So I apologize for that.
The other thing is, if you really are, my other recommendation is there's going to be a public hearing on February 14, next Tuesday, at the beginning of the agenda, 7:30, and then on March 14, when we vote. If you really care and really want to keep these two items for the tree committee, and because they are important, maybe you should send email to the council or show up to the meeting or ask to Scott to have a link. You have 3 minutes to speak about and say, we really support, we want you to consider and support and keep it in the plan because blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
So this is my recommendation is you want, because that one, it means for the council that, the tree committee is really care about this item. We want to continue working. We want the funding there for this project. This is a priority for us.
So it sounds like it would be, well, we should prioritize it because we're not going to, the council, there isn't money for all of it.
Right.
No, but then you can say that in the future, when the council decided what is next as a project, they should keep the money for this project. You know what I mean? Because they're important.
Yeah, it's important to advocate for it. If it doesn't get funded, it'll get funded the next time is
So
basically, I
it's
think.
important to advocate for everything on this list. Is that what I'm hearing, or for the two we've discussed?
No, I think we need to advocate for the two items that
Okay,
they are relevant to our committee. And there are going to be other people, advocating for other items too.
right.
So, but this is my recommendation. If, or
Okay.
send an email to the council, and say, so they know that we discuss it, we care, we want this item to be in the list, don't remove it and fund it. That's it.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So
All right, so, wording. So.
I think you just need a motion to approve the resolution.
Right. All right, so I make a motion to approve resolution 2223.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Awesome. All right.
Okay,
All right, now we're on to report for department. Okay, so I gave you guys a list from last week, but this week, just to update you, I've been working on the Arbor Day stuff that I talked about a little bit. I've been in contact with DNR again about getting volunteers from their organization to help us. One other positive thing is as I think a lot of you know, we don't really have any forestry staff that does, other than me. We have to put in work orders and ask Public Works to do all the forestry work. And Public Works now has lead workers, and the lead worker who is for the park maintenance staff, he asked me to come and do a pruning training, and he organized this training for all of the park maintenance workers and some of the streets guys who do basically maintenance pruning for clearance on rural rights of way as well as in town, to have a pruning training, which I thought was awesome. And I was really grateful that they asked me. And so I put together a pruning training for them, shared with them all of the standards, best management practices. And then we actually went out and looked at different trees and talked about the best way to prune the tree to accomplish the objective of whatever it was, clearance or aesthetics or whatever, and also how to best shape that tree for structure, for architecture, and for longevity. And talked about different tree species that we plant in the city and how we need to manage them to keep them in the environment for a long time. So I thought it was a really productive, great conversation, and I thought it was a really good use of everyone's time. We spent the morning, basically it was a whole morning, doing this, and then they went out and actually did some pruning, which was awesome. So, and I'm hoping that we can continue to kind of have those conversations and kind of continue to really talk about just the nuts and bolts of, arboriculture with the folks who are actually doing the work, because, none of them are certified arborists. So it's kind of nice to, have that back and forth. So I was super grateful for, that opportunity and, just for the conversation and the collaboration. I thought that was great. So I just wanted to share that with this group, because I think it's a real positive step in the right direction in terms of, tree management. So anyway, that was kind of one of the highlights that did make it into the report that you guys got, because I just did that on Tuesday. And then the other big thing is I'm working on spring tree planting. We have a record amount of trees that we need to plant in new developments. So that's taking a while, but we'll get there. And I'm hoping to get that done. If not tomorrow, hopefully Monday, get it out to bid, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully prices aren't crazy. So we'll see how it all works. But those are
How many people did you train with the pruning?
It was 13 guys. So I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's my
And these are the ones who have been doing the pruning currently?
Yep. So we've had some staff changes. So one of the guys that used to do it unfortunately passed away last spring. And then another one left for a different department. So we've had some staff changes. So 3 of the guys that were there were not employed with the city before we did pruning last year. So some of them were brand new to it. So 3 of them had done it before, and then 3 from the park maintenance staff had not done it. And the streets guys you know, and for them, it's usually an emergency situation, like they've got a water main broken and it's near a tree and they've got to get heavy equipment in there. And instead of like ripping branches off, we talked about how can you, in short order, get that tree pruned up in a way that's not going to kill the tree, that's going to keep it there in the environment and still get the work that you need done, be able to get the piece of equipment that you need to the place that you need it. And I thought that was a really productive conversation, because we do lose trees to water main breaks and to fire trucks and things of that nature, just because they need to get a piece of equipment somewhere really fast. And the tree ends up just either getting run over or damaged so badly that we can't save it. So anyway, that was kind of the highlight, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really big deal.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Mhm. All right.
So-
Anything else?
No, everything else is written down in the little report I gave you guys.
Mhm. And talking to other cities about our size, that's what it seems like, working hand in hand with the other departments, doing exactly what you've done this past week is a really strong piece of the tree preservation and conservation.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
To do it, it's just hard to make the time, especially if there isn't a person, like a head person to talk to, and now there is. So that's really great. And he, organized, talked to everyone, got everyone in the same place at the same time, which can be a big challenge. So that was great. Yes, Julia.
Yeah, what is this that they say that the city received a gold leaf award? What is that?
Awesome. Yes, thank you for asking. So yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention this too. So another highlight I think is amazing and really speaks to collaboration is that, we have a lot of volunteers who work in our parks, Sue being one of them. And this is a project that Sue actually helped with. It's a restoration project that happened it's ongoing, but the bulk of the heavy lifting is done. It's in Oak Meadow Park. We started this a year ago, where volunteers went in and took out invasive shrubs. And last Arbor Day, we did plant some native shrubs in there and some native plants. But the volunteers continue to work in there. They continue to get pretty much all of the invasive shrubs out of there. They've been planting stuff like crazy, and they've been doing a lot of mulching and just a lot of beautification of the area. And so we're getting recognized for that from the International Society of Arboriculture. So I will get that award in a couple of weeks at the Wisconsin Arborists Association. They'll actually get the award, so we'll bring it back, and we should probably put that on the March Park Commission agenda as well, just to recognize everyone who was involved. And it was a great collaboration between a really great group of volunteers from 2 different neighborhood associations, park staff, forestry staff, and also volunteers, like Sue, who just is, the Parks Commission, head of things. So it was great. And I think it's going to look awesome moving forward. They're very committed to it. And they're going to put a little native plant garden in there this spring. They got plants donated from Dane County. So, so I thought it was a great collaboration. I'm really just excited that it got recognized by the International Society of Arboriculture. And yes, we will get that Gold Leaf Award. So yes, other exciting things, I guess. So yes, thank you for asking.
Good.
Awesome.
So Chicory, that one is in that one is in.
Oh, Chicory. Yes, you're right. I think I said Oak Meadow. I meant Chicory.
Yeah, this is what I'm confused. I said, wait a minute.
Sorry.
That one is in what is close to the. Yeah, I know what it is.
Yes, I misspoke. I apologize. Not Oak Meadow. It is Chicory Meadows. Yes, and
yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, that one is in my district.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion there, but yeah, great. Yes, I apologize.
Okay.
Really great folks doing a tremendous amount of work, and
I saw that. I saw the cleaning. Yeah.
Yeah, and great collaboration all around. So, and I really appreciate the Parks guys really got in there and did a great job working with those volunteers on a few really key pieces of heavy lifting, which was awesome. And they did a great job. So, yeah.
And there was a lot of educational opportunity around that work too, with the neighbors and other people, understanding why that work is so important.
Yeah, no, you're right. So I did write up a couple of different things that the neighbors put on their Facebook page or their website or something, and also included in their newsletter. So yeah, you're 100% right on. There was a fair bit of education that went with that as well. So that's great. And then we sent letters out to everyone too, just to make sure everyone knew what was going on. And we had a surveyor come and survey the property lines. We didn't have anyone, any volunteers accidentally working on private property or that kind of thing. So it was, it was a great effort, and it's still ongoing. The volunteers are still working there, but the bulk of the really hard work is done, and it looks amazing.
I'm really glad when you flesh these things out so people understand also why working with volunteers in this very effective kind of way also is time consuming. Doing it the right way is certainly somewhat time consuming, but yeah, I think it helps for people to understand that. So thank you.
No, and we met with the volunteers a fair bit before we started this, just so we were all on the same page. We knew what to expect from each other, and we knew kind of what was possible. And what we could offer from the city perspective. We could offer, we could pick up brush, we can bring mulch, we can do this, we can do that. We can't do, some of the things they want us to do is like, well, we just really don't have the capacity to do that, but we can do these other things. And then, so it was a really good collaboration and a really good back and forth, and just a lot of good communication, which you're right, Linda, it takes time, but it's definitely worth it. And I was grateful that we are getting an award to recognize that.
How many volunteers are there in addition to Sam?
So through the neighborhood association, I think there's 6, I would say, regulars, and then they do these days where more people come out and work. And there's a group that works in Harlan Hills Prairie that also has been involved in this, and that's really that core group is about, I think that's 7 or 8 people. So, and they've all kind of had their individual roles. They don't often all come out at the same time, but they come out in different waves. And so I kind of worked with them, I don't want to say separately, but just I met with them somewhat separately, just to be clear about what the expectation was, because some of the volunteers were like, well, I really can't cut honeysuckle. I'm not able to do that, which is fine. And so we had a lot of people doing, different things. The mulch spreading was a big piece of it. And also just having folks also, we had someone write the grant to get the plants from Dane County, and someone who kind of was the neighborhood, I don't want to say spokesperson, but they got the word out. I don't know if it was through social media or if it was through the website. I'm not really sure how they did it, but they communicated with neighbors just to make sure everyone knew what was going on. And that, because when our letters showed up, I never know if people actually read our letters or not, but, there was some context for it besides just a letter they got from the city about what we were doing. So, anyway, so it was I would say it was about between 15 and 18, maybe 20 people that were involved overall.
That's good.
So, yeah, it is for sure. So,
hey, anything else?
Oh, not worth mentioning.
Yeah.
This late in the meeting.
All right. Are we ready to adjourn?
Well, and just for announcements, I would just like to reiterate, if you have time to make the comments for council for their discussion about the, the resolution 2223, that's awesome. If you don't, I totally understand, but just keep that on your radar if you don't mind. I'll put that in the minutes. I'll put the date and everything in the minutes, but that's just a really nice thing to do if you can do it. And
it's nice because it's right at the beginning of the meeting. So and you have 3 minutes, which sometimes I've forgotten. So yeah, so you can get in and make your requests and your advocacy and go. So. All right, so that's on the 14th at 7. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting adjourns at 5:15. Thank you all.
thank you, everyone. Nice